I had told myself for months that the sounds of our apartment at night were the most ordinary kind of reassurance. The soft rumble of the building settling, Emily's breath in the dark, the occasional creak from the radiator. So when she came home late that Saturday and slipped into bed with the practiced hush of someone who thought sleep was a safe alibi, I let the familiar rhythm lull me. I pretended to sleep because pretending was easier than watching her leave again. It was a small, domestic performance we both knew the steps to. Her laugh woke me. Not the tiny chuckle we shared over a private joke, but a higher, lighter sound, quick, bright, and too intimate for the hour. It started like a bubble in the apartment's quiet. A single note cut through the darkness, then another, until it rolled down the hallway. It didn't belong to the pillow next to me. It belonged to the doorway, the kind of laugh two people give each other when the world has narrowed to only the two of them, and the rest of us are irrelevant. I felt it like a knock beneath my ribs. I kept my eyes closed. I let her believe I slept. There was something in me that wanted to catalog the betrayal slowly, to see whether it would arrive as a single clean cut or 1,000 paper cuts that bled out over time. So I breathed shallowly and listened, and the laughter came again, closer, threaded with a low voice I didn't recognize. It wasn't Rachel's or Sophie's or any friend I knew. It was his. The kind of voice that was careful with vowels and full of the kind of confidence that has nothing to do with kindness. I could have risen then. I could have turned on the lamp and seized the moment by the throat. Instead, I let the pretense continue. I wanted more than a scene. I wanted the shape of it. I wanted to know if this would be a late-night mistake or a repeated geography. Laughter is an honest thing. It rarely lies. That laugh mapped them to a place in the apartment. The kitchen window that looked out over the alley where the building's side door sat ajar most nights. I heard the floorboards sigh under weight, the muffled click of shoes, the whisper of voices like paper sliding together. I slipped from the bed with the skill of someone who's practiced silence for years. The house was a ghost of light and shadow. I could see Emily's silhouette at the small round table, haloed by the kitchen light. Across from her, a man I'd never seen leaned in, one hand curled around a glass, the other on the back of his chair. He spoke in that careful tone. She laughed and leaned back, hair falling off one shoulder. Whatever treason had been planned, it was ordinary in execution. A small, private universe where they traded jokes and names and perhaps promises. I moved slow, the way you move when you're not sure whether you're in a house or a memory. The doorknob to the back door was loose. It swung open at the gentlest push and let in the chilly night air. Through the slatted blinds, under the streetlight's tired wash, I watched them from the small stairwell that led down to the alley. He placed his hand on her knee. She didn't pull away. They were close enough that, had I been a stranger passing by, I might have mistaken them for two people sharing a secret and a cigarette. But I was not a stranger. I was the thing their laughter had been keeping at bay. I didn't interrupt the scene. I took photographs instead, a silent witness with a phone and a steadiness I owed myself. The images I captured were useless as vengeance but precious as truth. The curve of his jaw, the way her eyes closed when she laughed, the way their shoulders fit together without the awkwardness of two people pretending. The shots were small and human and terrible in their clarity. They were the kind of proof you don't need to advertise. You'd rather tuck them into the cold part of a drawer and leave them there. But I knew I couldn't. When she noticed me, it was because she turned, not because I had spoken. Her smile faltered like a currency suddenly discovered to be counterfeit. For a moment she looked as if the laughter had been a cloak, and I had pulled it off. "You're awake," she said, as if it were an accusation dressed in casualness. The man stood, the chair scraping back with an honest sound. He was not ashamed. He was only surprised, like someone who'd been interrupted mid-conquest, and now had to face the mundane consequences of being seen. "What is he doing here?" I asked. My voice didn't rise very much. That low, calm register is often worse than shouting because it implies you've already counted the cost. Emily opened her mouth and closed it like someone fumbling for a map in a storm. She tried the old contingency of charm, the practiced pivot to something that made it appear accidental. "He's just a friend," she said, and laughter, the same laughter that had led me there, clung to her words as if it might save them. "Friend," I repeated. "At 2 in the morning? In our kitchen?" I felt my jaw tighten against the tremor that wanted to turn this into something cinematic. I watched the man's face and saw the shift from gentleman to intruder. He shuffled his weight as a man who had perhaps misread the boundaries and now had to negotiate his exit. "You should go," I said to him. My voice was flat, the kind you use when you want to make something routine, like putting out a lamp. He left without argument. He left with a nod that was almost polite. He left like someone who had been told the rules of a game he'd been mistaken about. After the door closed, the apartment's small throat of quiet came back like a held breath released. Emily sat down again and clasped her hands in front of her. The gesture of someone who's been cornered by truth. She tried for explanation. A joke, a silly night, a name offered in passing she'd forgotten. The stories were thin. They pulled at the seams when I pressed. I didn't ask for confessions. I only wanted to see if she understood the geography she had crossed. Her face showed something close to regret, but also the stubbornness of someone who thinks the world is elastic and will forgive the stretch. "I thought you were asleep," she said finally, the words small as coins. "I didn't think," she didn't finish. There is a particular cruelty to the sentence, "I didn't think," when what follows is the life you're accused of uprooting. I told her then everything I had seen, everything the photographs proved, the detail of the hand on the knee, the way he had looked at her. She listened and then, in a voice no longer buttoned with rehearsed ease, she said, "I didn't mean for it to."